We are the Guinea Pig Collective. All will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Greetings, humans. Cliffjumper here. Today we have another Transformers toy to show off. Which one do we have today? This one is a good one. We have one based on Transformers the movie, from the Kingdom line, the Pit of Judgement. I hope you enjoy this one.
First, we'll take a look at it in the box and then out of the box and look at the giant booklet it came for all the transformations.
Has the Imperial Magistrate reached a verdict? I have.
And with everything off of it, all the tie downs and everything, we can get a good look of what the Pit of Judgement looks like. It's a pretty cool little diorama set that they've actually included with this one. I really do love everything that they put together for this exclusive set. Now, as we take a look at some of the figures, we're going to take a look at Kranix. It looks like his arms should move. I mean, it actually does look like it has a joint, but there are actually no joints on this figure. It is just pretty much a little standy that doesn't do a damn thing. It's a little bit disappointing, but it is just a filler character.
Spare me this mockery of justice!
And now we are going to look at the Agitator. The Agitator guy, once again, doesn't have much movement, no arm movement. He's got a little base with the thing and his head turns, and that is about it.
Has the Imperial Magistrate reached a verdict? I have. Innocent. Feed him to the Sharkticons.
The Sharkticon that it came on. This one is fairly posable. His mouth moves a little bit, so you can kind of get his jaws open and semi-closed. His arms move a little bit, and his legs, well, his legs have decent posability for such a tiny figure. Now, of course, since it's part of the transformation, they don't move so far. The one thing I can't stand is how they have the tail placed. The tail is just sitting in the hand, and unless you're looking at it from the side, it looks a little ridiculous. I mean, they should have had a port in the back so this looked more like the Sharkticons actually in the 1986 movie. And the next one that we are going to look at is the one listed as the Bailiff, otherwise known as an Alicon. This one has got a good range of motion in the legs and the knees. It's got a little bit of a rocker down there at the foot. It's also got decent movement in the arms, but the arms don't move out very much to the side because of the transformation aspects of this figure does not allow it to move that far. There is a little bit of a turn at the hand and of course at the elbow. And he has decent movement in the head. He looks up a decent amount, and he turns side to side, and he looks down. This one is a very nice figure. It's probably one of the better ones out of the bunch, besides, of course, the Quintesson figure. Of course, the Quintesson is actually the largest one actually in this set. He's got the little base that actually has just got a little spring load pop-off that comes right off the back. And then, of course, he's got his little arms that actually move up a bit, and that actually comes in later as part of the transformation. This is a very decent looking figure, and I'm actually surprised all the detail they were able to put into this thing. And one of the things I really like is this little button on the back. If you spin this button sideways, it turns the head just like you've seen in the 1986 movie, and of course later on in the Sunbow cartoons, as well as the Netflix version as well. This was just an incredible little touch that they added. Now, some of the mouths on some of the Quintessons open and close just a little bit, but I think it's only 3 of them, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's 1, there's 2. This one does not move at all. Lifts up because it's part of the transformation. And I kept thinking maybe the little tab in the bottom had something to do with it. And no, that just has something to do with the transformation for lifting them up. And as we can see, the next one has no mouth movement, but this one does. Overall, though, the amount of detail that they put into this thing with the faces, and even with some of the mounts being able to move, I thought was actually amazing. And of course, if you open it up, inside is actually storage for a little blaster. And there's actually a port on the side of his tentacles where you can sit there and you could put this blaster in, just like we've seen in a few scenes. I believe it was from the Sunbow, because I don't remember him ever holding a blaster in the original movie. Only from the Sunbow cartoon did I remember him holding a blaster. So there's that as well. Nice little touch, I thought. And now we get to these guys in their transform modes. Now, in his robot mode, the Sharkticon does not look bad. However, he's got that weird bent knee thing going on. I mean, this was a very simple one to transform, so there isn't a whole lot of articulation to him. However, his knees are a little bit sloppy. Now, in his arm movement, he's got some decent movement in his arms. Once again, it's limited because of his transformations, but it does move a bit. However, there really isn't much movement in way of the forearm because, well, it's kind of just like the knees in a bent position. He does have a little bit of turn side to side with the head, and pretty much that is it for this figure. Now, one side note to the Alicon before we transform him is his axe actually breaks into two parts to put it into his hand. And now for the Bailiff, or the Alicon. He looks decent in his Alicon mode. His mouth opens up, and he still has some decent movement. His little arms don't move much, but his legs move a bit, and he does still have a little bit of a rocker back and forth on him. And actually, what I didn't mention is in the back of his tail, there's actually another weapon that comes out that you could put into his hand. And of course, we have the Quintesson transformed. He transforms into a little prison area, so to speak. And this one is kind of decent. It's kind of weird to see him transform in a prison, but I like the little prison thing that they have there, where it actually has an opening cage that you can actually put the Kranix figure into it. I actually appreciated that. The only thing I didn't like is this top. This top did not port in anywhere. It just kind of sits there sloppily, and I do not like that. It's the one thing that turns me off about this figure. Now, I do have another Sharkticon from the Kingdom series. This one, of course, is much larger than the one that came with this set, and of course, I have Grimlock.
Me Grimlock no bozo, me king!
These two are a lot bigger than the rest of them. Now, Grimlock is in scale with the Sharkticon separately, but of course, other than the Quintesson and the Alicon, he is way out of size for the other ones, especially the Agitator, the Sharkticon, and Kranix. I mean, even Wheelie is huge compared to Kranix, and Kranix was roughly about the same size as Cup and Hot Rod in the movie. Now, while I haven't done a review on this other Sharkticon yet, I did want to get him in comparison to this one. I think the other one by himself, the separate purchase one, looks a lot better than the one that came with this set. Even then, this set is incredible. Well done, Hasbro. This one is 10 out of 10 for me.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.